We used to think of managers in a very specific way. You had a team, they reported to you, and your job was to keep them productive, aligned, and just moving in the right direction. No team? Then you weren't the manager. That was the old rule. And by old, I mean from probably only 20 years ago, but things have changed these days. You've got project managers, product leads, cross-functional squads, you got remote collaborators, matrix organizations, the whole works. So what if you're leading major initiatives, coordinating people across departments, you're running complex projects, but no one technically reports to you? Are you still a real manager? Let's talk about it. The reality is far more complex than a simple yes you are, or no you must have someone reporting to you. My name is Marcel, I'm a chartered manager, and in the last 20 years I went from having large teams to having no teams at all, or having dotted line management responsibility. For most of modern corporate history, being a manager meant one thing. You had people reporting to you on the org chart. It was related to the way companies operated and structured their organizations. If you're interested, you can watch my other video explaining it in a bit more detail. But in short, that was the definition, and it made sense in a world where information flowed top down and work was highly structured and influence came from very formal authority that you climbed the ladder by managing people, managing more people, then managing the people who managed people. It was very clear, it was structural, and was easy to track on the spreadsheets. But here's the issue today. The nature of work is completely different. What happened is organizations have flattened this remote work, there's agile teams, async collaborations. These trends have made the old model less rigid. The startup mentality forced changes, and a lot of people now lead without authority. They influence without direct reports, and they're solving really big business problems by coordinating across teams, functions, and geographies. Well, they're managing work, they're managing outcomes and relationships without being someone's line manager. The teams are not even part of the company. The traditional manager with reports, it still exists, but it's no longer the only way to lead. And if you're one of those roles, it doesn't make you any less important. What we're about to discuss is typically most applicable in smaller companies. It's applicable in startups and project groups in new industries. As I think there is still a need for structures in the historical businesses, such as factories and transportation. That hasn't changed. Okay, let's talk about managing without formal authority. If you're the go-to person for driving progress, if you're aligning multiple stakeholders, if you're facilitating decision-making and ensuring accountability across teams, well, you're doing management work. You are managing people. Not in the HR system sense, but in the real-world sense, because managing problems always involves managing people. Projects don't move themselves. Alignments don't happen on its own, and that product that was shipped on time, it got there because someone, probably you, was holding a dozen moving parts together and making it look easy. You don't need a direct report to be a leader, but you do need reports to rise up. This is where it gets uncomfortable, because while managing without authority is real, there's no doubt about it, and it is valuable, there's a ceiling in most companies. If you want to move into senior leadership, you need to have managed people, not just project, not just outcome, but actual humans who reported to you, whose careers you help shape, whose performance you coach, and whose conflicts you help resolve. Why? Because as you move up, the problems you face become less about what gets done and more about how people work together to get it done. At the highest level, it's not about execution, it's about culture, it's about team design, succession planning, morale, org health, and you only get those reps by being responsible for people over time. Now, line management builds the people skills that you need later. Here's the real kicker. When you manage a team, you develop the soft skills that are brutally hard to learn any other way. I would say impossible. I would go even as far as saying this is the only way of getting strong soft skills. You learn how to give meaningful feedback, navigate personal challenges, set clear expectations, really important. It's about inspiring accountability. It's about supporting people through burnout, through boredom, or the personal setbacks. You deal with awkward conversations, messy emotions, power dynamics, all the stuff that no Gantt chart or Slack board can solve. While it might not be glamorous, it is not. It's the real work of leadership. The kind that gets noticed when senior leaders are thinking about who's ready for the next move. So where does that leave us? Here's the honest answer. Yes, you can absolutely be a manager in the real sense, even without direct reports, if you're driving outcomes, if you're coordinating people, solving hard problems. Well, you're managing. There's no beating about the bush here. You're leading, but if you want to grow beyond that, if you want to move up into director's role, executive position, anywhere where you're shaping organization level strategy, you'll need that experience of being a people manager. Because no matter how flat or agile or modern your org is, the higher you go, the more it becomes about people. It's about the motivations, the development, the alignment. And those skills aren't built by accident. They come from getting in the trenches with the team and learning what it really means to lead them. Let's flip it. So what to do if you're in that in-between zone? If you're in the role with a lot of responsibility but no direct reports, here's the move first. Take credit for what you're managing and don't undersell it, because you're learning valuable coordination, influence, and execution skills. All those are foundations of great leadership. Second, be intentional about developing the people side. Perhaps mentor someone and give them feedback. Practice the habits of great people leader. So when you do get that first team, you're not starting from scratch. And thirdly, when the opportunity comes to take on people management, say yes. Even if it's just 1 or 2 reports, that very first experience, well, it compounds fast and it unlocks so many doors later. Let's wrap it up with a new answer to the old question. Are you a real manager if no one reports to you? If you're managing work, people, progress, and outcomes, absolutely. But if you're aiming to rise into higher leadership, well, you'll eventually need to step into the formal manager role, because leadership at the top isn't about charts or KPIs, it's about people. That's how you get things done. And there's no substitute for the experience of actually managing people. If you want more tactical advice like this for early career managers, hit subscribe. We're building a library of real-world, no-fluff management content based on my experiences in various roles.